show you my toys.
Hey everybody, this is D Hunter bringing another action figure review. Today we're going to be looking at the Mattel DC Multiverse Batman figure. This is the Batman from Gotham by Gaslight. I believe this to be inspired from the animated film that came out this past January in 2018. Here it is now, November 2018, we're getting the figure. It would be nice if Mattel did a better job of releasing the figures near the release of the movie so that people would have the interest and buy it when they see it on the shelf. A little disappointing that it's 10 months after the fact. As you can see here, I bought two of these figures. This is Batman. One of them is going to be kept in my unopened Batman Complete Multiverse Unopened collection, and one of them is going to be open to play and display with. This is the only figure in the regular wave that I decided to get, because the rest of the figures, we got Vixen, Ray, and Wonder Woman. I really predominantly carry Bat and related characters, so I'm not going to bother getting those. I don't care about the Collect and Connect Super Luthor as well. There was two Walmart exclusive figures for this wave, Harley Quinn and Spoiler, which I was extremely interested in and have got both of them. They do come with variant pieces for Luthor here. So let's check out the packaging real quick. Front, a little bit of, I believe it's from the film, not the comic art. I've read this comic and I own it. But this toy is more based on the animated film, which I also have seen. Got the barcode on the bottom, just a bunch of cartoon art, completely blank up top. And here's the figure. Now I typically open whichever one has the better paint job so I can enjoy it more. Let's go ahead and pop this figure out of the package and check him out. Here he is unopened in front of my comic collection with a bunch of other recent acquisitions. Here's the actual comic I own, Gotham by Gaslight, and its sequel. Alright, then now that we got this figure out of the package, I must say, I like him. I think he looks pretty good. Let's check him out a little bit. His face, he's got no makeup around the eyes, kind of interesting, but this is definitely from old school 1800s. He fought Jack the Ripper in old London. His bat suit has like stitching on it, like it's homemade. I like that. He's got this sort of cloak thing on top of his cape, and his cape is made with, I don't know, it's a different material, and so the outside and the inside sort of appears clothish, and the outside is, I don't know, vinyl's the right word. He's got an ab crunch in the middle. Really like the way he's kind of bulky, big, strong guy. He's got the new hip articulation for the multiverse figures. Got some nice boots, looking old school, like a homemade Batman costume from someone who would have done this in the 1800s in London. I like him a lot. He's very reminiscent of the film. I just checked it out a couple days ago. Hadn't watched it since it came out back in January. There's a previous release of this figure from DC Direct many years ago. I actually don't have that one. I really wish I did to compare these guys, but it's one of those barely articulated, really nicely detailed DC Direct figures from back in the day. I must say I do prefer my Multiverse. This is based off an Elseworlds comic, Gotham by Gaslight. I had it as a kid. The issue I showed you before, I don't think is the same physical copy for when I was a kid. I do believe I bought it again. It doesn't have much value, maybe $5 or so at the most. It is a graphic novel, maybe the size of 2 comics or so, and it does have a sequel. Don't really expect us to make any more figures from this film, but it would be nice if we got Jack the Ripper, but I'm definitely not expecting that. Alright, next let's check out his accessories. Alright, so here are all the accessories this guy comes with. First off, we've got Super Luthor's plain Lex Luthor head. I was thinking about selling this off because I'm not going to be building Super Luthor, but I'm actually probably going to keep that one. I'll throw it on some suited body and have a suited Lex Luthor. He comes with 4 hands, 2 right hands, 1 open, can hold, I don't know, whatever you want him to hold, and then one that's sort of semi-open, can hold something a little bit bigger. I can see him holding a grapnel, which of course he did not come with, but used kind of an old school grapnel in the film. He's got a fisted left hand, and actually it looks like it has a little slot in it where it could potentially hold something very small. And then we've got a semi-open left hand as well. And I was really surprised to find out that these 4 knives on his belt are removable. That would be what's intended to be held in his left hand that has that small hole in it. Right here on his belt, there's a slot for those 4 knives. I was not expecting them to come out, but I was very pleasantly surprised. I wish it came with a Batarang or grapple. I think they would have been very appropriate, but I'm happy for what it came with. It's not like I need that many more Batarangs. And while on the subject of accessories, the Luthor head we have here, like I said, I think he would be great to make just a plain Lex Luthor. I do have the spoiler figure that came in this wave, Walmart exclusive, and she came with sort of an alternate variant head for the Luthor figure, just FYI. Might throw them both on eBay, might throw them in my head fodder pile. We'll just see how I feel. So I opted to go with these two hands as my permanent hands I'm going to be using for him. The other ones are going to go in my fodder pile. The semi-open hand here that I think could hold a grapnel, which I'll probably check out later. And then the hand with the very small hole in it that could presumably hold these knives. They have sort of a square bottom as well. Fits in there very nicely. I do think these knives are going to be very easy to lose, so I'm going to go ahead and put them back in there and probably never pull them out again. Fit in there pretty nice. Do like it. Love weapons that you can holster, and was not expecting that to happen. Usually small knives like these are simply decoration, nothing more. You got to get in there just right for them to fit in properly. Anyway, pretty cool. Alright, next on the agenda, let's check out the height of this figure. This Mattel Multiverse figure, they're traditionally around 6.5 inches tall or so. Let's see what the tape measure says here. Alright, so the head, top of the head, not the ears, goes to right around the bottom of my finger. It looks like about 6.5 inches. Close to 6.7 with the ears if you include those. Pretty decent. Now that we've checked out his accessories and his height, let's go ahead and check out his articulation. These multiverse guys have been evolving from wave to wave, gradually adding more and more articulation, so I'm curious to see what's up with this guy. So his head on a ball joint goes around, is obstructed by this large collar on his sort of shawl cloak thing. Looks up yay far and down. That's not too bad for up and down. Next you got these shoulders, which really are not functional at all. This hard sort of plastic here, it's not very soft, blocks him from really going out at all. I can see it looks like it would go all the way out, but it's not going to be able to. Up and down, you can maybe punch up, uppercut like this. It's about as far as it allows you to go just because the sculpt is hindering it. And it is a nice sculpt, it goes back about that far. He's got a bicep cut here, which actually can be kind of useful considering the limitations to his shoulder. Then he's got a single jointed elbow, but it does have the ability to, no, it does not have the ability to swivel. Then he's got his wrists, they go all the way around. Then they go up, down, up, down. Of course, they're interchangeable with the other hands we looked at a moment ago. He's got an ab crunch from here, and then can go back down to here. With that, along with his head, can really allow him to look up and down considerably nicely. He has a waist swivel as well. Then he's got his hip. His legs go out completely, do splits for the most part. Then go forward this far and back, not at all. Nice range of motion. He's got his thigh cuts here. Then he's got knees, and they're double jointed. They're hidden very, very nice. I didn't think they were double jointed at first. When I went down, I'm like, oh, okay, single joint knees, wow. But he's got the second joint underneath the boot. Really hides the joint well and doesn't mess with the sculpt of the figure at all. It's pretty nice. Let's see. He cannot swivel around here. Then he's got his ankles up, ankle rockers, nice. So they can go up and down considerably. And they can rock. I like it. So he can stand like this, and his ankle will be able to support him properly. Both of them, nice. It's kind of odd pose to have him in, but just to show you, he does have ankle rockers. Multiverse stepping it up, trying to be like Marvel Legends over here. Oh, come on, buddy. Stand up for me. Alright, well, the ankle rockers need a little love. Now, this is not the first time that Mattel has made a an Elseworlds figure. There's another one upcoming. I think it's Red Sun Superman. They also in the past have done Vampire Batman, Red Rain Batman. I love the Elseworlds comics. They don't really make them anymore, although they definitely do sort of What If and other universe comics to this day. But the Elseworlds line in the early 90s was really popular. I love those books, kind of what if stories, you know, Samurai Batman or Pirate Robin, etc., etc. Here he is next to the Elseworlds Red Rain Batman. I always thought he was a little bit too skinny because the way they drew him in the book, he was so big and bulky. But I actually really do enjoy that figure. He's so unique, and Gotham by Gaslight Batman staying next to him. Something I've wanted to do for a long time. I don't have either one of these figures in the DC Direct version, but I'm so happy to have the Mattel version. This guy just looks cool. He looks old school. He looks like it's homemade, like a smaller operation. You can see him down in the basement with Alfred helping him stitch up the stuff, and you know, his low-key gadgets in the movie. Pretty cool stuff. So I was looking through my collection trying to find some villains that would fit versus an old school Batman. I came up with the Mad Monk from the old school Batman comics. Here he is sacrificing somebody in a church, and Batman is going to interrupt him. Here he is interrupting an old school Hugo Strange from doing some experiments on a police officer in his laboratory. Here he is next to a bunch of DC Universe classics and Multiverse Batman figures, so you have an idea of how he would fit in scale-wise. Here he is next to some DC Direct older Batman figures. These are of the sort of 7-inch scale. The guys on the right here seem to scale pretty nicely with him, and this Capullo Batman is just a little bit taller. Here he is compared to some larger DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. These are definitely the 7-inch scale, and I picked some of the taller ones so you get a height comparison. Arkham Origins Batman and him fit a little bit okay. Arkham Origins is a little bit bigger. Arkham Knight, who's traditionally a very large Batman figure, is quite a bit taller than Gotham by Gaslight. And then on the left here, we've got the DC Essentials Batman, and he's a little bit taller as well. Here he is compared to some Mezco 112 Collective Batman figures, just so you get a height comparison. Here he is compared to some 6-inch basic figures from the Batman Missions figure line that's out in stores right now. These guys are about $10 each for the basic figures, and sit more of the 6.0 inch scale instead of 6.5 inch like the Multiverse. Here he is compared to some 7-inch McFarlane figures from various lines. Far left we got Walking Dead, then Fortnite, then Multiverse, and then Stranger Things. These guys are definitely a little bit bigger than him. I'm not too picky in my action figure world, as I can definitely mesh these together, fudge them together. Here he is compared to some Diamond Select figures from various lines. A lot of these I use for civilians in my Batman world. These guys are definitely a larger scale than the Multiverse figures. Here he is compared to some various NECA civilian looking action figures. These are more the 7-inch scale and a little bit larger than the Multiverse as well. Here he is compared to a 7-inch NECA Reeves Superman and Keaton Batman. Once again, these guys are a little bit larger than the Multiverse. Here he is compared to some various Mattel WWE suited figures. I use these for civilians and thugs and gangsters in my action figure universe. These guys are more like 7-inch, a little bit taller than the Multiverse figures. Here he is compared to some various Hasbro Marvel Legends figures. These guys are a tiny bit smaller than the Multiverse, it looks like. All in all, I must say I do enjoy this figure. I've enjoyed this book since I was a kid. I've always been a big fan of the Elseworlds stories, and we never had figures of them very much before. This is sort of a more regular looking figure from the Elseworlds, kind of grounded in reality, as Batman should be. I like him a lot. Super old school Batman from the 1800s. I've actually kind of been looking for a Jack the Ripper figure, and I found this old Mezco one, but I'm sure he's way too tall and way too sort of exaggerated. This is the only figure from the wave I was going to get because I only want Batman and related characters, but they did release that nice Walmart Harley and spoiler as well. Super hyped about the spoiler figure, and very pleased with this Gotham by Gaslight figure. He fills the void that I never got to fill with that DC Direct figure that is still absent in my collection. I would love to get him, but probably will not pursue it as he is quite expensive nowadays. Anyway, if you're on the fence about getting this figure, I suggest do it. I imagine that over time he'll be marked down on Amazon to at least $15, if not cheaper. This guy is 2 per case. If you like this video, press like below. If you want to see my next upcoming videos, hit subscribe. If you want to comment on this video, you know how to do so below. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you guys real soon.